It's the Jack
and Cathy
Show.
Shit Show.
And there we go.
Yeah,
okay, I think it. Yeah.
Okay. Hi.
Hey. This is a funny episode for you, isn't it? Let's do a podcast.
Well, whose idea was it?
It was yours.
All right, we were just sitting in the living room. Jack Honar.
Because you were talking about your...
Ain't feeling so hot today.
You were talking about your VG's getting a cold.
That was a little bit funny.
Do you want to give context, or do you want to talk about...
No, I think the world will understand how we got onto...
I don't think so. I think they'd have to really be told exactly what we were talking about, which made us laugh because Cathy doesn't take care of me when I'm sick and dying. And I'm learning that this is our first real foray into me being sick. And so I had to write...
First foray into you being sick?
Yeah, so I had to write my kids and tell them if something happens to me, look into Cathy.
Okay, keep talking.
Okay.
Because this is all setting up the purpose of this podcast. So just keep talking, baby.
At least I cover up. When you cough, it's like, oh, hey, have a germ.
So we were just sitting in the living room, shooting the shit. We were down in the basement working. And then I went upstairs and the sun, you were just chillaxing next to me and I was peppering questions at you about work. And I was on my laptop and then I went upstairs and the sun was shining.
First time in like 9 days.
First time in a while. So we retreated back to upstairs and anyway, sitting in the living room chatting, and Jack, as you can hear, is not feeling very well. So we gave him a little Theraflu, daytime Theraflu, and a little vitamin C.
And
we're
sounds
just
better.
Yes,
right?
and a little ibuprofen, and it's all kind of kicking in to where Jack can now sit upright.
For anyone listening, I had to beg for those things. When I got this morning, was, oh my God, like you're the first person to ever get sick.
You know, this is perfect how you are going on and on because we're sitting there, and I forget what led into it. But you said...
I said what?
You specifically said, hey, should we record a podcast right now and just talk about how I'm such a whiny baby when I get sick?
I don't remember the whiny baby part at all. I do remember...
A crybaby.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh, my God.
I remember me saying, at least when I'm sick, I'm still willing to have sex with you. And you said... And you said...
You were so full of shit.
And you said, but then my vajij could get a cold. That's what you said. And then we were laughing, going, imagine walking around town and achoo! Someone's like, what was that? Like, my vajij has a cold.
The vajij coughing. Oh,
so
my God.
That made me go, oh, we should do a podcast of this. And we could have me being sick on it. And how you don't take care of me. That's exactly what I said verbatim.
That is not it.
It
is closer to what I said, where the words were, should we record a podcast about what a baby I am when I'm sick? I'm like, oh yeah. Yes.
It doesn't sound like
Can
me.
we document that?
That's what's funny. It doesn't sound like me. It doesn't sound like how I am.
That doesn't.
So to recap the day, Cathy's alarm went off and mine went off, and we were supposed to work out this morning, so she wakes me up and she's like, babe, are you working out or not? And I'm like, I'm coughing. And then she goes, we said we're going to work out, fight through it, you'll be fine. And then she taps my belly and she goes, because this, it's like a marshmallow. And I went, oh, that's sweet. And then I coughed a little bit more. She went, oh my God, cover your mouth and get over yourself. So then she gets dressed. She's like, so you're not working out? Fine, I'll go by myself. Don't you remember? This is exactly how it went. So then I say, can you at least take my temperature? She slaps her cold, clammy hand on my forehead, but it was more like literally a slap. And she goes, you're warm only because you were in bed all night long. I'm going to work out. Can't believe you're letting us down. Those are your words, us down. Then you leave. I hallucinate for a while because I almost fall down the stairs trying to get meds. You come home and you're like, hey, I got myself some coffee. Did you get me anything? And you're like, you were asleep. So I went, oh, great. So I don't have anything to drink. And then I remember all of this exactly like this. And then And you're like, hey, we should remodel the bathroom right now. Come on in here right now. Hurry up since you're taking the day off. And then you did air quotes because you're sick. And then you made me go in the bathroom and start taking apart the flooring. And then I said, can I just please have some medicine? And then I said, you're not taking care of me. And when you're sick, I would have sex with you. And when I'm sick, I would still have sex with you. And then that's how we're here.
I just had to let that one run.
I know,
because
you were really good. I was so waiting for you to stop.
Piling lie after lie, and I found it very entertaining.
You know what reminded me?
Where it was all going to go.
Did you ever see?
That was such a good story.
Remember when we watched Seth Meyers and he makes fun of who's that? Tucker Carlson. You remember when Seth Meyers makes fun of Tucker Carlson? He goes, and then too many people decide to go over here, so they decide they're going to do this. And now I can't buy a coffee because coffee costs $400 million, but it only costs $50 million. But you know how he does that?
Yes.
That's what I felt I was doing.
Yeah.
Though it's not as funny.
You were doing you were doing that. So,
but most of that's true. How much of it is not true?
All of it.
Oh, okay.
Except for the fact that you are truly sick. Everything else was a fabrication and exaggeration. What other Asians can I add to that?
I did ask you to have. I did say I would provide you with physical pleasure. To prove
and that is what led to what if
you saying, what if my vagina gets a cold? It's like I couldn't stop laughing.
But you did say, you know what? We should do a podcast about what a crybaby I am when I'm sick.
I don't remember if I said crybaby.
Yes.
I do remember saying,
oh my gosh,
we should do a podcast about how insensitive you are when I'm sick. I think that's what I said.
Crybaby. But you are summing it all up for our listeners, because I want our listeners to know that everything you just said, except for the cough, was actually real. Wait, was not real.
Oh, you just admitted it. Facts. Hashtag facts on this show. It's indelible now.
It's opposite day.
It's opposite day, yeah.
January 23rd.
Yeah, normally you take care of me
day.
until I'm sick and not making it.
Yeah, the truth of the story is...
Yeah, let's hear your side.
You mean the truth? My side in which the truth lives? That side? The alarm went off at 5:45. Jack got out of bed, coughed up a lung, and I said, you should not be working out. Not only because you don't feel well, but
with
it's
a wink,
inconsiderate.
And then you pointed to my belly.
Inconsiderate to others to show up at a gym and be hacking. So he's like, you're right. And then I went to work out.
Said that you're right.
I went to work out, got to the studio, made sure that management knew that Jack was legitimately sick so that he wouldn't get charged for his class, took care of that. And then after class, I brought him home one of his yummy, sweet, terrible for you lattes with 700 calories.
It was so good.
Because I spoiled you. And then I made you take ibuprofen. And then...
she gave me an injection of something. So if my kids are listening,
I made you hot water. I made you a daytime Theraflu, and I made you a vitamin C water. And after all that led us to the point where, please, everyone understand that when Jack gets sick, when he gets a head cold, he's like, I'm dying. Literally, you go, I'm dying. It's the cancer. Cancer starts as a head cold.
Okay.
And I hope you enjoyed me and our time together, and I hope you keep the bar high for the next guy.
I did say that because
keep the podcast going with, you and Darren. I'm like,
whatever
Darren.
Name it was. I just
well,
picked
whatever
some names,
name that you and your next love. And,
but I did say to you, I want you.
And
don't
all
settle.
day long, there's cancer,
don't
and we're
settle.
dying.
Well, it could be lung disease too, but don't settle. I don't want you to settle when I'm gone. Because you're young and vibrant and energetic, and I hope I've set the bar relatively high. And so I don't want you to settle. You've even said in previous podcasts that you learned that you settled before.
This is the cold I had 2 weeks ago. Exactly what's happening with you, and I'm pretty sure
remember
I survived.
What you were like? You know what you were like? Oh, I can't move my body. And I'd bring you all this stuff, and you remember you yelled at me. You're like, oh, this is it. I want it hotter. I want it 98.86 degrees. And I had to take a thermometer and put it in there. I remember you were screaming at me.
Okay, let me know when you're done with this story.
The neighbor came across the street after he was snow blowing. He's like, is everything okay in there? Because Cathy's really yelling. I'm like, she's sick. He's like, oh, is she that way when she's sick? And I was like, yeah.
You have the most amazing imagination. And your imagination always goes down like a dark hole of despair.
The only reason I don't have a black eye is because you weren't quick and I was able to duck and dodge your right hook. You took a big swing, but you telegraphed it. So I moved away, but then you did an uppercut and, man, just missed me. So I remember it that way. How did you remember it? It's funny. I didn't even know you were sick a couple weeks ago, other than you had a cough in the middle of the night.
Well, you were getting me Theraflu, actually. You did get me that daytime Theraflu and the nighttime Theraflu.
Without you
asking.
You
are an incredible...
This is going to be the shortest, funniest podcast.
Is
ever.
It though? Is it though?
So anyone who's watching, I am covering up my mouth.
We're 11 minutes in, and we can pretty much call it right now because
I don't want to call it. I want to keep talking.
The gist of it is that
Thank you for hugging
Jack Honar is a big
not
crybaby. But it's not even that you're just a crybaby when you get sick. It's like you are doomsday.
It starts
doomsday.
That way.
Is that Chicken Little? Where the sky is falling,
But what if it was falling and no one listened to him? Right? My kids would say it. They're like, you couldn't take my dad to the hospital when he's feeling this sick.
Jack has cancer. I've tried to kill him. I don't pay any attention.
I was walking down the stairs. I slipped a little bit. I'm like, what would happen right now if I just passed out because I'm so sick and I fell down the stairs? What would you do? And she's like, oh my God, just walk. That's what she said. Just walk. And I went, I almost...
In silence. Just don't speak.
But you say that all the time anyway to me. Maybe this is all a manifestation of how mean you are to me throughout the course of a day.
As I pet your head and rub your shoulders. Now I'm holding your hand.
It's because you want something. There's always an ulterior motive. By the way, I was thinking about ulterior motives because we used that word before.
Yes.
I did when we were lying down. I need to look up. Is it spelled?
Wait, reread?
Right.
I did while we were lying down.
Okay, I need to look up how you spell it. Is it ulterior, U-L or A?
Ulterior.
Can you look it up?
Ulterior.
I know it's the dumbest thing to do.
Let's take a stab at it.
I think it's U-L.
Alter.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't know if it's
A-L-T-E-R.
ulterior motive or ulterior, like ultimatum.
Ulterior. You know what I mean? I think it's like interior, ulterior. So what's your guess on how to spell it?
I think it's U-L-T. But I
think it's A-L-T.
I know, because it could be. And that's funny because I'm really good with words. So I know what it means.
Oh, you're right.
U-L.
Ulterior.
Yeah.
It's a U.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Ulterior
See,
motive.
I saw alternative. Extrinsic reason for doing.
did.
Yeah.
Wait, look at one of the people also ask, is it ulterior?
Yeah, someone asked it in Google search.
Yeah.
And what does it say? It could be either or. Watch, it's going to say it could be either one.
Although ISP, what's that?
What?
Although ISPs promote DNS redirection as
see, ulterior in the context means hidden. All with an AL means on the other hand.
Not a word.
It's not a word. How about that?
Ulterior, on the other hand.
It's not a word.
Oh, okay. Is not a word. So ulterior.
Good. I mean, I knew what it meant. I just honestly got to know how to spell it. And
wow.
Do you feel that you, like, you know what's funny? I'm really good with words. And then I sit there and go, God, I would never pass a spelling bee. Like the first round I'd be out. They'd say,
really?
Johnson. And then I'd start to laugh so hard. That was good. That was really, even when I'm sick.
You mean Richard? Richard Johnson?
Even when I'm sick, I'm very clever.
What are all the names you've come up with along that? Because you do
Austin
very
Powers.
much have
it's right out of Austin
that
Powers.
Juvenile boy sense of humor, which, by the way, cracks me the fuck up. But I guess I must
makes my
also...
son Sam, who, by the way, never listens to the podcast, but bellyaches that he hasn't been a guest on it.
Yes.
So I'd like him to listen to one, so maybe Sam listened to this one. But what were we talking about? I'm very funny when I'm sick, though, I think.
No, I wanted you to name some of the
I don't know. It's right out of that
funny
Austin
names.
Powers movie where they're looking at something up in the air and like, Wang. and Johnson. Two balls.
You were telling me you once had 2 softball teams, and you were in charge of naming the softball teams.
Well, one was called BEECHER, Tool and Die.
Beecher, Tool and Die.
And the worst part about it is you find it funny. So that was one of our flag football
Beecher,
teams in
Tool
college.
and Die.
But didn't I say that to you? I sent you a text.
But I love how you spell it so that the person listening will say it out loud.
That's what my hope was, right? But I sent you a text I took notes of one. Remember? I wrote you something, but I did. I can't believe we're going down this path right now. We had another one that. There's another one. A guy's name that I'm friends with. His name is Haywood. Hay. You die at this one. There's another one that I used to go by, and a guy named Haywood, and his last name was JAHBLOMIE.
Oh, that's
first name Haywood. Can you read his second name for me?
Where
JAHBLOMIE.
Hey, would you blow me? Haywood, you blow me.
That's what I used to. The worst is that you laugh at this. So I had that one, and then. So I cannot believe we're transitioning to this right now. I am so funny all the time, even when I'm sick. I really am.
Even when you're dying, you're still funny.
You're an asshole. This is the podcast that goes nowhere because Jack is sick. That's the title of it.
This was your suggestion.
I
Let's
know,
go downstairs and record this.
Well, it was just funny. So there's another name that I did. So we had, there was, the Bohicas. We were the Bohicas, and that was an acronym. By the way, there's a difference between an abbreviation, which is ESPN, and an acronym is the word where you can actually make a word out of it. So ESPYs is an acronym. ESPN is just an abbreviation. There's a difference. So when I say Bohica, if I told you what every letter meant, that's an acronym. And if all the letters kind of merge together, so not everything's an acronym. It's an abbreviation or an acronym, just so you know that.
Okay.
So I teach you a little something. But you know what Bohicas was? Remember Bohicas? That was the name of one of our teams in college, our flag football team, the Bohicas.
What's it stand for?
Bend over, here I come again. Okay, and then so... The worst part about it is this is the episode I want Sam to listen to so badly. Not anybody else but Sam.
It's right in that same category as farts are forever funny.
Well,
farts are funny.
This is why when I'm with my dude friends, I wish Pat listened to the podcast because this is one I'd love him to listen to. Just yesterday, I was at his house. And you know what's funny? I was feeling great the whole time at his house.
Yeah.
And then I left my coat in the car because I was hot. You know, the truck gets that seat heater in the truck gets super hot and the car warms up fast. So I took off my coat and I was really hot after, going to his house. And then so the moment I stepped outside in the cold and sat in the car, I started feeling like shit. So I don't know if it was brewing in me or what, but it came out of nowhere. Like I was fine all day. But anyway, we were talking about movies and all these things that we like. And so anyway, when I know you like this story, so I'm going to repeat it.
Okay.
This is where my son, I want him to listen to this show because I know he's like, it's not even funny, Dad. It's stupid. But Pat and I were going over every movie scene. We were talking about The Office and all the inappropriate shit. And we could not stop laughing.
Yeah.
And we said, we really would wish we could live like this. And I kind of do. I must say that's what she said 1,000,000 times like Michael Scott. But I said, that's what she said, like really quiet. And you're the only one laughing. You're doing it now. And Sam gets livid. So we're doing a triathlon. Me and my cousins. It was back when it was called the Mrs. T Triathlon in Chicago. I think or the Sun Times it was called. That's how far back it goes. And so you can compete as a team. So one person would do a particular leg, swim, bike, run, whatever. And so I was always doing the bike. And so the first year I named us whatever, the Three Amigos or something stupid and I thought cute. And then I realized because I was not the final one to cross the finish line, it was my cousin Bob, that it had, they would announce, and now coming, the Three Amigos. I was like, this is fucking awesome. So
Because knowing that the name of the team
because
is
they're just
going to be
read
announced.
It's going to be announced, and they're just going to read it.
And you're like, ooh,
right?
I could
And they're
have
not
fun
going
with this.
Right. Well, did you ever hear sometimes in an airport? Because I know friends of mine have done this early in the airport days. They'd be like, paging Mr. Dick Hertz. Paging Mr. Dick Hertz, come to a courtesy line.
Paging Mr. Hertz.
Right,
Mr. Dick Hertz.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's real shit, though. We've done that. So anyway, you always laugh at this. It eggs me on. You know, it's the wrong thing, right? So will you...
it's the wrong thing,
in the context
right?
of everything we're doing right here, do you really think you're going to find someone that's this much fun as me when I'm gone?
Nope, I'm going to live alone.
That's what I mean. I
for the rest of my days.
There's no way you'd find another guy that would do a podcast
nope,
as funny
I
as
wouldn't. I wouldn't. I will never do a podcast again. I won't even be a guest on it. I'll refuse.
I just
once
want
you're
you
gone.
to be happy.
When are you gone?
That's
End
all
of the
I
week?
Oh, I figured by this afternoon. Don't laugh. I'm not kidding. I really don't see it going much longer than right now.
Okay.
So I'm the whole year I'm planning for what we're going to call ourselves, but I never told my cousins. And my aunt, my mom's sister recently passed away about a year ago, was at the finish line also. So my cousins were there, and they announced us as my cousin Bobby comes running through the finish line and and now coming through, Captain Dick and his seamen. And the guy just really quickly caught himself. I think right as he said seamen, he stopped. And my aunt turns and looks at me and she goes, "That was you." And I just went, 100%. We're waiting all year just to cross the finish line. 365
That's the only
days.
reason I'm doing this.
I'm only doing
relay.
this triathlon for one reason. Only to hear someone go. And
I
Captain
hated
Dick.
it last year, but I just did it again so I could name the team and hear it over the announcement.
It's so bad how much. I don't know if it's a generation thing, though, because I asked Sam, he better listen to this podcast. See, Key and Sam and Alex have all grown up with me doing this all the time.
Yeah.
Since they were very little.
Yeah, I'm guessing your feathers have been a very, very much the same color your entire life.
Well, when it comes to this, and that's why when I hang out with, but if you're around, you've been around my brother-in-law, Bill. He's the same way.
Oh, yeah, he's funny.
John's like that.
Yep.
Pat's like that. Rich and Karen are like every guy friend I have.
Yeah.
Is like this, so I don't know how to not.
Isn't that a theme there?
But I think it's generational though, because Sam's friends don't do this kind of stuff. Like I don't know if that's how we grew up.
I don't know. They must.
I would hope they do.
Your ball is squeaking on my.
See? And right as you said it, you knew I was going to say something.
Jack is sitting on an exercise ball for a chair, and it's squeaking against my chair.
But the way you said it was my ball. What did we read on TikTok where that grandma was reading a story about the squirrel and his nuts? The squirrel likes to save his nuts every once in a while. His girlfriend comes over, and she likes to eat his nuts.
Yeah, my sister-in-law, Carol. Hey, Carol.
Carol sent it to you.
Shout out to Carol. She sent me. She sends me a lot of funny TikToks.
In fact, I think she's older. I think she's hiding her age. Don't tell her though, okay? She doesn't listen to this anymore, does she?
She does.
Oh boy.
And Carol is
but
well
she's
behind
from the same,
us in age.
She's from the generation that I don't know. I think it's funny.
I just think it's that type of sense of humor, but it also has to be the right person saying it, because I do find you very funny.
I do.
Not so much when you're a crybaby. Now, when you're sick, when you just go on and on about your demise over your cold, or perhaps you have COVID, perhaps you have Kraken. Who knows?
These are deadly
we're in it
things.
together.
We're in it together.
We're in it together.
As you asked me for my pin.
Just sign here, honey. This is just for the takeout that we're getting today. Really, just press hard. Press hard on the carbon paper.
I hope everyone knows I am fully covering my face right now when I cough.
You are, but I'm sure Key can maybe
well, that's why I tried to back away. Well, I was
cough.
watching the meter. So, by the way, thank you to Key for suggesting the mics. And
I know. We have
software.
fancy new mics.
Rocks.
For anybody that actually watches this podcast, you can see our wonderful mics. Hopefully they will distract from the fact that as I itch my head that...
Did something just jump out of your hair?
Possibly.
If anyone wants a good engineer, producer, my daughter's the shit. So
she is.
She rocks. And I've been promoting her like crazy
the
to other people. Well, we had 2 guests on. Can we just transition to that right now?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what's funny?
What?
I love having guests on.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. It's kind of a cool thing, and we're going to have more this year. But I really do. I like when it's just us too. No, I mean it, because we're.
Well, I think that's going to be natural. How there's a little bit of both.
Well, that's why if we just have something that comes up, I think we should just get it done. Just send it on, get it done, see where it goes. Because that's what we often have, really cool ideas. And this was just more of a funny one. But anyway, we have 2 guests coming on that we'll be publishing probably the week of January 25th or whatever it is. Where was I going with this?
I don't know.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, so they're both doing their own podcast. And then we had a meeting with someone who wants to help, Julie, who wants to help promote us to get us either on other podcasts or sponsored.
Yeah. If anybody is listening, this whole podcast world is so new to me, and it really is a thing. If you can subscribe, that does subscribe, follow.
Yeah, get people to subscribe to us. No, it's a little bit different. If you could sort of on Spotify, it's called subscribe.
Yeah.
But if you could tell your friends to subscribe to us, that'd be great, because it just helps the numbers.
Yeah.
But we have an option if we wanted to actually charge people for this. So if you want to listen, you got to pay for it.
So if we want no listeners.
Right. We'd have nobody listening. and I still don't know if I ever want to do that. I really mean it. I don't know if I ever want to charge anybody for this.
That would be
shitty
weird.
Content.
That would be weird.
But my point is, so key is you're listening and editing this, that the 2 people we had on recently, one has her own podcast. The other is contemplating starting one based on what we talked about. We're not going to give it away.
Nope.
Though I am going to bug her about doing it, because I think she should.
She would appreciate that.
Yep. And then Julie talked about doing her own podcast, and Julie consults people on podcast stuff. And so while Julie feels, and she should listen to this too, while she feels that we may be farther along than some of her clients, we still want her advice and all that other kind of stuff. So
no doubt.
All 3 were referred to Key for production stuff. So Key, when you are listening, just know that we're getting you some clients. So if anyone wants a really good producer and engineer, she's the shit, from just audio and visual, and then could help with hardware and software, so you can still do it all at your house, transfer files over easily, and she'd produce it. So
I can tell the drugs have hit your system.
Because I'm feeling better.
Well, you're sitting upright and you're chatting, and in between coughs.
I was terrible. Just when I took I do sound better even, because right before we I started putting this, because it takes like a half an hour to get this all set up. Yeah. I sounded bad, didn't I?
Yeah.
So do you want to then, coming full circle, do you want to have sex now that I'm feeling better? Or are you afraid your vajij is going to get a cold?
My vajij would get a cold.
Because we can go other places on your vajij.
For sure. What? I could tell by the look on your face that something was coming.
Oh,
yes.
Was it?
That some inappropriate comment
you
was
have
coming.
To watch your language so much with me. I'm such a 5-year-old.
You had joy across your face before the words came out. You're like, I'm going to say something naughty.
Well, it's funny because
your face told that story before you even spoke the words.
I've always told you, you're Ed McMahon for me. You laugh at everything.
I know. Well, you know what? And
everybody needs
the purpose of this podcast is about our shit show of a relationship and all we've discovered and sharing what we know. And actually this kind of, thank you, babe, this kind of podcast, I think, sort of reflects it perfectly, because it illustrates how
this specific one right now.
Yeah. It illustrates how we found our person. I found my person in you, and you definitely found one in me, because I laugh at your shit. And
we're good together.
I'm your Ed McMahon. For anybody that doesn't know Ed McMahon, that's the sidekick to Johnny Carson, and
laughed at everyone.
He was jokes. Like a laugh track. I am Jack's human laugh track.
We are good together, though.
Yeah, we are. Most of the time.
We're not always in sync. And
no, we had a fight the other night.
Because you were wrong.
Well, you were wrong, and you were clueless and not trying to understand me, and I
but that's really how you feel.
Let's
boil that one up. I think it was a combination of me being short-tempered and you not explaining it well.
That's fair.
I do. I think I was really short, so you better be spot on, because I was not in a good mood.
Maybe you were really starting to get sick then.
You know what's funny? I wondered
you were crabby.
Yeah, and you even asked me yesterday, like, crabby. I'm like, yeah, I am. So maybe I was the start of something. Yeah. I didn't physically, I'm telling you, the moment I opened up his door to go out to the car, because remember I left my coat and hat in there.
It hit you.
Right away I got the chills, like instantly. The car was up to 85 the whole drive home, the temperature. I was like, this isn't good.
Yeah.
So maybe I was starting to feel something prior to that.
I don't doubt it. Yeah. I think something was a brewing.
Well, baby, I'm glad you want to do this podcast. And
This
yes,
was
I
fun.
can even feel in the 30 minutes we've been on, I'm feeling better. The
Yeah.
meds are kicking in. I'm still going to pass out.
So are there any lessons learned here, Jack Oner, Crybaby?
Yeah. For the next man, if you want to know what Cathy's all about, listen to the podcast and don't ever get sick. There you go. If you haven't picked that up by now, like you're a fool. There's your red flag.
Jack's last podcast, because he'll be the first man to die of a head cold.
I'm sure someone has, Beanie.
Die of a head cold? I doubt it. Perhaps complications that began with a head
I would
cold?
just
that
love to
maybe
have.
led into pneumonia?
I think
sure.
the coolest thing that could come of this is if you were walking down the stairs and I heard your vajayjay sneezing. That would be. That'd be the best TikTok. Oh, you think it's so cute, don't you?
It would
Look at
be
you.
cute.
Achoo. Can we do a Gottman's thing since we always end in a Gottman's?
Okay, sure.
Here's your.
Okay. Do you have a topic that you want to?
No, you pick anything you want. How about taking care of your partner when they're sick?
How to deal with a crybaby. All right. Give appreciation?
Find a question. Let's go medium. Let's go salsa. What's that salsa stuff?
I don't know. Salsa, mild, medium, and hot.
Let's go hot.
Let's go hot. Oh, I'm nervous.
Salsa. Looking to spice up your sex life? There we go. Couples who want to explore more wild sexual fantasies. Click on that one, baby. When your partner is really sick, let them do inappropriate things to you to see if your vajayjay will get a cold. Play a game of strict poker. Okay. No, let's get something else. These aren't going to work. That's stuff we're going to do later.
Okay.
We've got to find questions.
I blush.
How about we
easily.
just do date questions is really where it is. Or sex questions.
Sex questions.
You want sex questions?
Let's try it.
All right. The more you know about your partner sexually, do you need to know anything more about me?
How do you define sex? That's actually kind of a good one.
Oh, here's a good one.
Oh, what? How important is it for you to have an orgasm when we have sex? We have discussed this.
We have on
All
previous
right.
podcasts.
All my children, stop listening. All of our children, stop listening. Go click, and I get very mommy when we go to these places. Are you going to a different one?
No, just answer the question. I was looking for more.
Well, we have definitely discussed that that's not the end-all, be-all. Certainly for a girl, but I don't think Jack Hodar needs to say much more. You just went, eh.
You have taught me love.
What have I
Both,
taught
you
you?
have taught me, love, and you've taught me love. And love, if I may say, like a flower floating in the ether of life, has made me realize that an orgasm is nothing but a
Is that
transcendent
the
moment.
Dayquil talking?
I don't know what
What's
it is.
happening
I don't like
right
the
now?
question. Oh,
Okay.
Ready for this? Let's have some fun with this one. After an orgasm, what do you need from me? I know what you're going to say. Ready? Get off of me. And I was going to say a hug.
All you need is a pillow.
That's right.
I'm so
Get off of me.
tired.
Where's my pillow? All right, folks. I can't do anymore. I'm hitting the wall.
All right.
This is 35 minutes more than I thought I had.
All right. That was perfect.
That was a fun podcast. Hope you guys are great.
All
Hey,
right.
do us a favor. Please spread the word about this if you like it.
Yeah,
tell
like
other
it,
people to listen.
subscribe, do some of that fancy stuff. It helps us out because we're just having a real fun time here, and we hope you are too. And
We're going to keep
listening.
doing more of this stuff. So
Yeah.
And if you really need, if you're starting your own podcast, I mean, there's a fee for it because she charges money. But if you're starting your own podcast, my daughter Key can tell you everything from hardware and software, what mics to buy, how to set things up. Like we have a light you can't see here for our video podcast.
It only helps so much when you haven't showered or washed your hair.
That she
in a
can
few
do all of
days.
it and then post all of it. She can actually do the podcast itself, help you produce it.
Yep.
And tell you how to get it on all the major platforms, which is what we're on.
That's right.
All right. Anyway, baby.
All right.
You know what we always do at the end of this. Peace.
Outro take 652.
We should start off laughing. You just listened to another episode of the Jack and Cathy Shit Show.
Our senior producers are me.
Hey, and me.
This episode was produced, engineered, and mixed by
the amazing Key Honar.
Email your questions, comments, or interesting relationship stories to jackandcathyshow@gmail.com. That is Cathy with a C.
Be sure to follow and like our marvelous shit show on Instagram and TikTok at Jack and Cathy Shit Show. Apparently liking and following is a thing.
It is?
Yeah.
This episode was produced